I am not a real estate guy. I am a business guy, and my product has been real estate for almost the last 10 years now. And that's the big difference for me. Like I'm not a big portfolio guy. I'm not a seller finance expert. I'm not a subject to expert. I am good at finding deals and building a business around that. And that's what I'm going to talk about: systems, processes, people, and how do you create a business that does real estate deals rather than you doing real estate deals your whole life. Because we all know that investor, that agent that's 50, 60 years old and still on the hamster wheel of looking for their next escrow, their next transaction. And that, I never wanted that to be me. But I am not passionate about real estate. I don't really have any emotion or love for owning a bunch of real estate. I like business. I like running teams, and that's what I've spent the majority of the last 10 years on. Real estate's always just been that product. And my goal is for you all to become an operator or an architect, not a hustler, right? Everyone has a hustler phase in their business where they are beating their head against the wall. They're wearing every hat in their business. But my goal for you today is for you to go from hustler to operator to architect and have the framework to do that. That's everything that I talk about with my team, that I work on myself, is all how do you take a business, whether you guys are flipping houses, developing houses, building your portfolio, whatever you are doing, how do you take it from a hustle, which a lot of you guys are probably in that season of life, which is essentially a high paying job. How do you take it from a hustle to something that is running? And the business is the machine that is doing deals, and you own the machine. That's the goal. That's what we're talking about here today. What I'm doing right now with rebuilding another real estate company, the goal is not to create another job for myself, right? The team I have in place, the processes that are in place are all there, already in place. A prison, because a lot of us do that. A lot of us spend 10 years just doing as many deals as possible, and all of a sudden we wake up and go, man, I kind of built myself a prison. This isn't what I want. The big picture, you guys, the big picture of this business: if you can source your own deals, money will always find you. That's true. And it'll get you in any room you want. Like, I've been in a lot of rooms I couldn't imagine 5, 6, 7 years ago that I would be in, just because I built the skill that no matter what people do in real estate, most people suck at it. That's just the honest, the truth is most people are terrible at finding their own deals. And so if you can build that skill, no matter how hard it is, no matter how long it takes, it's a skill that'll pay you the rest of your life. AI is not going to take away your skill of finding off-market real estate deals and transacting real estate. And that skill can go into commercial real estate. There's a lot of things that you can do with that skill once you develop it. And that's what I focus on. I'm not here to talk to you guys about, like I said earlier, like seller finance stuff. I'm here to talk about one thing: building a business around sourcing deals. And then building the dream out of prison. I just talked about that because I believe a lot of us build a prison, whether we admit it or not. I know a lot of very unhappy millionaires in real estate that flip a lot of houses, that they build a lot of homes, they build a great portfolio, and they are incredibly unhappy with what their day-to-day, their life looks like. That was never my dream. I'm sure that's not most of your guys' dream. So make sure you are conscious of, even though I'm telling you guys, here's my goals, make sure you guys are really conscious of what you're trying to build. That's the most important piece. Because some of you guys, you might want to do 5 deals a year and travel the world. Some of you guys might want to do 100 deals a year, have a big office, and have a big team. But what you don't want to do is just kind of wander aimlessly doing deals, making money. Because one day you're going to wake up like I did at one point with a 5,000 square foot office with 20 people in office going, why do I have so much overhead and such little profit? This is not what I was trying to build. And I don't want that for any of you guys. So myth busting, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to do this. You don't need an endless budget to find deals, but good deals are an indicator for money, and more importantly, relationships coming your way. The relationships that I have built, business partners, mentors, friends, for example, being on the Bigger Pocket Show and many shows like that, have come from deals leading to relationships. And I put out a post on my Instagram about this week, but one of the things I started doing very young is finding deals. And instead of making $40,000 on an assignment fee, I'd take it to someone that I wanted to get to know. And instead of saying, hey, let's go to coffee, I'd say, hey, I got this deal. Let's work on it together. And I'd make less money on the deal, but then you build a relationship. And a lot of times those relationships last, life. And a personal friendship most of the times comes after a business relationship. And I found that to be true. I built a lot of really close personal friendships with people that I wanted to know and get to know and have in my circle that started with a mutually beneficial business relationship. And that's very common. Like, that's the reality of the situation. Like, people are not going to get coffee with you. People do not want to pick up the phone just because you decided you want to be in business. There has to be some kind of mutually beneficial situation. And the best way to create that is finding deals, no matter how big the guy is. If you had a good enough deal, you could probably get Grant Cardone on the phone tomorrow. Right? That's just the way it works. If there's some kind of mutually beneficial situation, they will pick up the phone, they will answer your DM. And that's how I built my circle, my network, which I think is the most important thing. Because if everything else fails, if your business collapses, if everything goes away, the bank can't take what's in here, and the bank can't take your relationships. Those are the two things they can't take. and the skills that you have built. And then simple skills, right? I talk about this a lot, even on my Instagram, but this is not that complicated. If you do things in the right order, it is not that complicated. What makes this complicated, and I say this all the time, people do not fail in this business, whether they're flipping, wholesaling, whatever they're doing in real estate, because they're not talented enough, they don't work hard enough, they're not smart enough. It's usually because there's too many ways to succeed, and they never sit down and focus on anything for 5-10 years. You guys, I have been focused on one thing for almost a decade now, finding deals. That's it. That is it. Haven't built a portfolio, haven't done anything else. I'm going to master finding deals, and I've done that for almost a decade. And I just now feel like I'm getting okay at it, right? It takes a long time to get really good at something. And the guys, whoever you look up to, a lot of their success has been from just doing the same thing for a decade or two. That's what a lot of it is. So I want you guys to focus on what this business actually is, which is a sales and marketing business. The sexy AI softwares, the sexy tools, the next best exit strategy, innovation, seller finance, all this section 8, all the kind of stuff you guys hear about, that is all golden objects. So this business is finding deals is a sales and marketing game. That is it. It is marketing and sales. And no matter what you guys choose, you have to have deals. And this is an example I talk about a lot on the bottom here that you see the $2 million in your career if you don't learn this. And I'll break down the example. Say you flip houses, okay? Let's say you flip houses for 3 decades, so 30 years. You start when you're 30, you end when you're 60. That's been your business for your life and your career. For a lot of people, that is. And they take some years off, but they flip houses their whole life. Let's say that on average, you do 10 deals per year, okay? And you do it for 20 years. It's 200 deals. Let's just break that in half. Say on average, you do 5 flips per year for 20 years. You do 100 deals. Let's say on average, and you're not sourcing your own deals, you're paying a $20,000 assignment fee to a wholesaler, or you're buying it on market and it's marked up a little higher than it should be, but you're missing out on $20,000, just bare minimum per deal because you're not sourcing your own deals. A lot of you guys, it's more than that. Now take that across the 5 deals you do per year for 10 years or 20 years. For most people, they're missing out on $1.5 to $2.5 million, which then would compound. So actually much more than that in their pocket by not learning how to source their own deal. And so I'll ask you guys that are sitting here, is this issue, is this problem, is this skill set worth $2 million to you to solve? That's the question you got to ask yourself. If it takes 6 months to source your first internally sourced deal, who cares? Right? You're solving a $2+ million problem for yourself. And for a lot of you guys, much more. I know people that have made $700,000 on one assignment fee on a multifamily building. I know people that have made over $1 million on an assignment fee. So when you have this skill, for a lot of you guys, it's going to be well over $2 million in your career, but it's going to be at least that. Big one there. It's not a $10,000 problem that you're solving. You are solving a multi-million-dollar problem by learning how to source your own inventory if you plan on being in business for the majority of your career in any way, shape, or form.